goodness gracious. You were heading out to distribute copies of The Watchtower today?
Have you found Jesus? Yeah, he's behind the drape.
Don't even come up the driveway. No. You should see me greeting these folks. These poor schmucks.
Oh, they do it with the brown satchel and the lovely. God love them.
Pains me. Sometimes they have like an 8-year-old in tow too, and that really bothers me. So I goodbye.
Yeah, that's a little weird. No, I just Lloyd Robertson dropped by the house and left me a tie.
I like it very much. You're looking
very social distance.
Dapper this morning.
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm all right. I got a few little things. My mom's going to join us this week. I just heard from her this morning, and on Friday.
Great.
On Friday,
I'm sorry?
Friday morning, we'll be chatting with her.
Friday morning. Okay.
To see how she's doing, and
she must be excited about that, being with her favorite boy.
And that would be you.
Angel.
That would be you. That would be you.
This is a mother's angel.
We're going to have to tell the story about the time she mistook you for me. That's a long time.
Actually, she didn't do that. She didn't mistake me for you. She just wanted it to happen.
No, she was. That's right. That's exactly it. She was hoping against hope that.
What a nice young man.
Some Star Trekian transposition had occurred, and that.
Oh my goodness!
Have you got stuff?
Would you like to get the ball rolling?
Yeah, because I've got a bit of a rant, but I'm going to finish off on a nice little note here. But I just want to, and again, it's one of these stream of consciousness things that I'm going with these days.
We now know the way your mind works.
It is. Yeah, it's probably not as bizarre as I would think. I guess a lot of people kind of do this too. I ran across this piece. And I'll explain now. Are you familiar with the rubber hand illusion?
No.
Okay. This is a BBC piece that was aired a few years ago, 2010, quite a few years ago. But it's about an experiment that's been performed very frequently over the last 20 or 25 years. And what is done is, you'll see it here in the video, is they place your hand on the table. They then place an artificial hand next to your hand, and they begin to stimulate, simply like brushing lightly, both your hand and the artificial hand.
Oh, I'm starting to recognize this, yes.
And then after a few moments, your brain begins to tell you that you're feeling the stimulation in the artificial hand, even though it is not connected to your body, of course. Now, what's interesting about this is I was reading an article recently, a couple of days ago. University of Sussex has decided now, based on their studies, that this is nothing more than what they call imaginative suggestion. And they say that this experiment has been used erroneously or inaccurately to diagnose various cognitive problems and all sorts of different things. And they're saying it's bunk, essentially, that it's simply a suggestion that
it is the power of suggestion.
Exactly. And so this, I found out, again, you can look into this in your own time, at your own leisure. It gets rather complicated, but it's interesting how
people actually start seeing the plastic hand twitch.
They start.
They do
twitch. They start. They tell themselves that they're feeling something. For example, in this photograph, the right hand is the real hand, the left hand is the artificial one, but the brain begins to tell you that you're feeling something in your left hand, even though your left hand is nowhere near the table. The artificial one is. So it's, I find it interesting that it comes down to simply fooling the brain. And this took me, of course, to someone who uses imaginative suggestion. Kresge.
The amazing Kresge. Is he still alive, or is he an illusion?
He is 85. He is still touring. This is a piece I found in a Toronto publication from last year, around this time last year. And he's still doing corporate gigs and I guess making a few bucks and doing quite well. And I looked into his background a little bit, and I found out that his family name is Kresge.
Ah, isn't that interesting?
George Joseph Kresge is the family name, and that took me back to the S.S. Kresge Company store on Elm Street in Sudbury, Ontario, which is what you're looking at right now, or as my grandmother used to pronounce it, Elm.
Elm.
Elm Street. God bless Margaret. And that was I remember when I was a kid, we're talking 3, 4 years old, 5 years old, that was the most amazing outing on a Saturday morning to go to Kresge's and walk down the aisles, the brightly lit aisles. And here's an archival piece I found on CBC Edmonton, strangely enough, from the Westmount Shopping Center in Edmonton. And this was the closure of their luncheon counter in 1992. And you can see the length of this thing. And just looking at these photographs brought back memories of the Kresge's lunch counter, and everything smells like toast and scrambled eggs, right? When you walk in there,
that's right.
Entire store, and
women, perfume for 75-year-old women.
That's right, and the women in their orange smocks walking around and serving you.
Oh, and women in dressed up in the hats, the full regalia.
Absolutely. Yeah, to go to Kresge's. So that brought back some interesting memories. And of course, Kreskin used to tape his show at CFTO in Toronto back in the day. And
syndicated in the States, right?
It was. And I think he came back and did some other shows at CJOH in Ottawa and in the final years. And I found out again that we were talking about CFRB. CFTO stands for Canada's Foremost, Toronto's Own. I did not know that.
I didn't know either. I just thought it was CF Toronto.
That's what I thought so too. So look at the size of this camera. The ones you and I worked with were just a tad smaller than those. But
my God, great Russian technology.
That's right. It looks like a hen house. Now,
there's something to follow with it. Okay.
There's Dougie Ford. Now, I was watching Premier Ford yesterday. And of course, I'm not making light of the situation that he's in, but he's doing all right. Dougie is in all of this. He's been quite firm and getting things to move along. What I took exception to yesterday was a young reporter was on the phone, and she asked him about what he thought was the reaction of Ontarians who were, quote, and I'm quoting her now, who were being told to drink the Kool-Aid and stay at home. And I take great exception to the use of that expression because the millennials I hear using this have no idea where that comes from. And I recall seeing an article in the Toronto Star many months ago, and I wrote an email to the editor, and within an hour they had rewritten the piece and removed that from the copy. Drinking the Kool-Aid refers to an extremely unfortunate event in 1978. Make a long story short, this guy was Jones was his name. He was one of these religious guru types who set up a commune in Guyana. Anyway, and 918 people died in 1978 related to this whole
by drinking Kool-Aid that was laced with something, and they died.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah. So this is where this expression comes from. So if you have no idea what you're talking about, no idea where this comes from, do not use this expression. And if you're going to use it, make sure you're using it in the right context. And I can't imagine what that would be. So I really thumbs down to, I didn't catch the name, a young woman, could have been a young man. Not impressed with this.
Wouldn't know the history. Would not.
No idea. No clue. And this is what the editor, and I was quite pleased, I don't recall his name, at the Toronto Star did. He wrote back and we exchanged a couple of emails, and he said, you're right. I hear that. In people speaking, I see that written. I've seen it written in articles in this publication before. And he said, "You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm going to have to start cracking down on that, and at least having a talk with the reporters." So that's it. Okay, enough of the rant. I'm off to Rona today to pick up my order of chicken wire and 2x2 8-foot things because Madame's got a whole plan figured out here for an herb garden. So I have my marching orders for
Oh, up
today.
at the Ponderosa. Well, how many acres you got? Well, you got about 2,700 acres, right?
That's right. That's the way we like to think about it. So this is what, and it's a nice day. It's cool, but it's a nice sunny day. So that's what I'm going to be off and doing today. So
Well,
that's,
I would bundle up. It's still pretty raw out there.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know that I'll be out building today, but I'll be
Oh,
planning.
you're actually going to build these
Oh,
boxes?
yeah. I'm, yeah, there you go. There's the laughter. Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah. See, my old man used to be really good at this. He could build bookshelves and stuff, and I'm in there and I'm measuring and I'm counting is it one or two? 1, 2, 3. Oh man, you should see the stuff we've put together around here.
Would you do me a favor? Would you do me a would you have pictures taken? I mean, this with Elliot jumping on your neck and trying to bite you.
Not with us, but she'll be taking pictures. Yeah, for her
with
Instagram.
With a porta potty behind it, with a porta potty. You know the guy in the overall, the picture of the guy in the overalls opening the door.
Yeah. And I curse in both official languages too, so which is something that most people around here are not accustomed to. So.
And the final line is she comes out and says, "What is that?"
I'm sorry. No, I wanted 2 doors. So.
And the garage.
Yeah. Oh, is it facing that way? Yeah, we're going to be doing.
No, just a little gable and a portico.
That's right. Yeah. Are you? Yeah. Going back in the house, with blood dripping all over the place, and
yeah, just a saw lying there, with a finger attached to it. Oh my God, the disaster!
Bob, the stuff that we're going to get into here, I tell you.
Well, I got a couple of things.
Okay.
We're going to start at this end.
Oh, yes, of course.
There's James Whitmore.
James Whitmore is the name, of course, yes.
Fine character actor. This is from the book and movie you talked about.
Yeah.
And I actually watched a bit of the movie. You know what? It's not bad. The only thing that's ridiculous is, let's face it, James Whitmore just cannot pass no matter how much. Yeah. As a black man, but he is excellent in it.
Is he? Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, and the film itself is quite good. And look who is in it as a really good guy.
David
Whitmore is hitching a ride, and it's David Huddleston.
Absolutely.
Never mind that shit.
Here comes Mungo. My favorite line from Blazing Saddles.
Blow it out your ass. And David Huddleston is really quite excellent. He's one of the few decent white guys Whitmore meets during this film. So I thought I'd run that one.
Wow.
You brought up this wonderful bit of Canadian technology yesterday from Spartan Bioscience. It's a small Ottawa company.
Yes.
And they are making these wonderful little testers.
There's
and there they are. The complaints you had in the press communique was that they did not show this, which is a cool little device. It looks like a small Sonos.
Quebec has ordered 200,000 of them.
Good Lord. Well, I hope they have the facilities to make it. And there was an article later in the Globe I saw with a picture which actually showed it. But as you said, the press release just was basically a written press release with nothing. I think they were scrambling to get going because all of a sudden,
I was being just a nit, but 200,000 by the end, actually to be delivered by the end of May. So
good Lord, that is fast.
Yep.
So there it is. And let's talk about Canadian technology then. I don't think we give ourselves enough credit, and the world doesn't know. This is brilliant engineer J-Alphonse Ouimet, who invented in 1932 the first practical Canadian television set. He was a graduate of McGill in engineering. He was born here in Montreal, and this is one of his original TV sets, which he invented. He had brilliant engineering mind.
I did not know about it.
Yeah, that is J-Alphonse, and again, a B.Eng in engineering at McGill. He later became the president of CBC Radio Canada, which was a less than happy tenure because he was a brilliant engineer, but he was also dealing with a bunch of producers and artists and everything like that, and unfortunately had a hard time. but a Canadian people should know in the history of our country in inventions. This, of course, is a Canadian invention from 1959, the hula hoop. This is a Canadian invention. Pizza is a Canadian invention. It's all Canadian.
It is really?
It's all Canadian.
Wait a minute. Pizza is a Canadian invention?
Yes.
Really?
And this is proctology by catalog, which was first practiced in Canada.
Okay.
Are you with me now?
I'm with you now.
See, they're going through the first one, and they really it goes there. But this is proctology, first practiced in Canada.
And you found I'm not even going to touch that one.
I wouldn't. Well, that's what she's actually saying. Yeah, she's actually saying that. I'm not going to touch. False eyelashes, of course, invented by somebody in Dryden, Ontario.
Oh, okay.
Were invented in Canada. Back to the proctology.
You keep going back to the proctology thing.
This is obviously a rather unfortunate juxtaposition, but the turkey baster was invented in Canada, and it was invented in Vancouver.
We're going to Vancouver tomorrow. We're going to speak with Bill Amos at 8 a.m. Pacific.
I thought Bill was in Victoria. Oh, he's in Vancouver. Okay.
He's in, well, I think he lives in Surrey, I think, but he teaches in Burnaby. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I'm sorry. Continue.
So that's Vancouver. There we are again. And this was invented in Canada. Yeah. In Vancouver, suburban Vancouver. This, of course, was invented in Canada.
It certainly was.
But then, of course, so was the Edsel. We've had now opening day baseball invented in Canada, and for years and years, that is Jack. No, that's Frank Robinson.
Okay.
With the Cincinnati Reds, for years the tradition that opening day was to be with one of the oldest teams in Major League Baseball in Cincinnati. Every day, notice it's daytime baseball. But daytime baseball invented in Canada. And one of the oldest teams in baseball in Cincinnati was founded by a Canadian. And another team in Boston founded by a Canadian. And of course, these two guys are a Canadian invention.
They certainly
which brings us back to another automotive Canadian invention.
I'm sorry, the Yugo was invented here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You
just turn the. Okay, so what I'm going to do then?
You didn't have to tell me this time. I got it, didn't I?
You did. I'm not.
Those are all. I think we should. We should talk ourselves up a bit. All of those things are, especially the turkey baster.
The turkey baster
invented in Canada.
In Canada. I'm going to make sure that Radio Quebec and the Ontario School Board gets a copy of this to use with their students.
They're going to be rewriting the books.
Yeah. That's right. And Doug Ford's going to get even more upset.
You're just about stunned right now, aren't you?
I am. Yeah. Pizza threw me there, and that image and the proctology by catalog. By catalog.
I just Googled it, and these three young women are at a medical school somewhere, and one's I don't think it's supposed to be there on him.
Yeah, holding the manual. That's always a good thing when you're looking up.
It's a tea-eating catalog. Next to it is a harvester.
Yeah. You're looking up and the guy's holding the manual.
Yeah.
All righty.
Is there anything I can do to help? It was a local, not a general anesthetic.
Okay.
They whacked him over the ass with a broom.
Okay, well then I will be taking photographs of the construction of the herb garden. The
construction of it, yeah. I'd like to see the process.
It's not going to.
The neighbors start pulling out shotguns.
Yeah, when you may see me holding something like a catalog too, with the way things are coming together. But you know what? Kudos to Rona. My spouse was out for an early morning walk, and she says she's seen, and it could be your local home improvement store. It doesn't have to be Rona, but she saw a number of bundles that have been dropped and delivered. All kinds of people are doing renovation work and fixing up this and that around the house. So things are picking up. People are getting busy, and that's what it's all about.
Well, they have also now mentioned that contractors and not contractors, gardening people in the gardening business are now listed as an essential
Yeah.
uh, job, an
But
essential
house
service.
and home
Uh,
construction activities resume a week today. A week, no, actually next Monday on the 20th. So
okay,
that's
I always get a little nervous about this,
me
about
too.
people trying to
Me too.
going a little too fast, but
Going to see.
we'll see what
But
happens.
I was listening to an interview this morning, and the CNSST, whatever they call themselves, the workmen's compensation folks are already out there. And it's going to change everything that you were talking about porta potties earlier. No more porta potties. They're going to have to set up much more elaborate setups with running water and
Oh,
soap.
of course.
And
Yes, you're going to have to wash. Yeah, yeah,
so the
yeah.
workers will benefit from that. So, yeah, a whole lot of stuff is changing. So it'll be interesting to watch how this evolves.
An interesting thing, I'm sure you've seen the articles too, is how automation technology has picked up and developed just in these few months. I was watching some machines, some guy, I believe is in Ontario, who has a company that builds automated trash sorting, recycling sorting machines, because they don't want people, even with gloves, to be doing this anymore. And they can't keep up with the orders.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the
So
technology
there's,
is developing. I'm sorry for the analogy, but it is a perfectly apt one. This is like war. Technology uh, uh, changes so quickly during bad situations. It's
yes.
really quite remarkable.
Yeah.
It's one of
So
those tragedies of human nature.
as tragic as the situation is, it is also fascinating, at least to me, to be watching, as you say, how these things are evolving. And I have nothing but hope and still seeing the glass as half full. And it's going to be an interesting summer and fall, to say the
And
least.
interesting how things get up and rolling. I mean, we didn't talk much about this, or a lot of people should have been talking about, but didn't talk about much of this at the beginning of the year. It is now the middle of
Oh,
April.
that's
So
right.
in 3.5 months, people have got things up and rolling
Yep.
and logistics going. And it's just, I find it hopeful.
Me too. Me too. Okay. Tomorrow
See you
we're
tomorrow, and we'll see your mom on Friday, right?
Yeah, tomorrow we record at 11 Eastern, so we'll be a little bit later, but we'll be chatting with Bill.
Oh,
And Bill is a reporter. You knew Bill here at CBC.
oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's been teaching journalism at the BC Institute of Technology for I don't know how many years now. And he's outspoken. He's got quite a few things to say. So, and I haven't talked to Bill in, God, in 30 years, 25, 30 years. So,
Well, we talk regularly on Facebook. He's still a
yeah,
big Canadians fan, and we talk about a number of things. And yeah, he's got a lot to say. It'll be fun.
should
So
be
it's
an
11
interesting.
o'clock tomorrow.
11 a.m. tomorrow, and it'll be 8 a.m. his time, and he's looking forward to it, as am I, and you as well, I'm sure.
Very much so.
Ciao.
Take it easy tomorrow.